Good morning, students. Let us continue with the module 2. And in today's class, let us see the merger waves, industrial shock, and industrial clustering. These two theories, that is behavior theory and neoclassical theory, explains about the merger waves. Behavior theory, which is in the belief that the merger waves are correlated with high stock market valuation and that results from the timing of managers' market overvaluation of their firms. And neoclassical theory gives which argues that merger waves are the result of industrial shock. Neoclassical views here they say seeks that rational explanation of causes of merger waves and assumes separation of ownership and control, which means that the shareholders of the company have no direct control over the management's decision. This views also assumes, that is neoclassical views also assumes, that the managers act to maximize the shareholders value and capital market efficiency. This framework work system from the empirical observation that changes in the economy, which would be technical and regulatory, cause industries to consolidate in waves. There are two main theories in neoclassical framework, that is industrial shock theory and Q theory of merger. Industrial shock theory says that merger waves result from the shock to an industry's economic, technological, and regulatory environment. In economic, shock is defined as an unexpected and unpredictable event that affects an economy either positively or negatively. For example, shock would be the development of new technology or a new fiscal or monetary policies implemented by the government or even a new law being put into action. Q theory of merger. In Q theory is used to determine if a company is over or undervalued and equals to the total market value of the firm divided by the total asset value or total asset replacement cost. The Q theory of merger draws from Q theory of investment, which states that a firm's investment rate would raise with its Q ratio. A company has a low Q if the Q ratio is between 0 and 1, and low Q ratio means replacement cost of the asset is higher than the value of the stock, so therefore the company is undervalued. In other words, in other hand, if a company has Q ratio that is greater than 1, it is considered to have a high Q and is overvalued. Next, that is behavioral view, whereas the neoclassical argues that the managers always strives to maximize shareholders value and capital market efficiency. The behavioral view relax those assumptions and propose that there may be managerial motivation to engage in merger activities. The behavioral view supports by observations that stock market valuations are positively correlated with aggregate merger and market merger activity. Here there are three theories. First is market timing theory. According to this market timing, first let us see the meaning of this. Market timing refers to financial decisions that are intended to capitalize on temporary mispricing in the market, usually by issuing overvalued security and purchasing undervalued ones. It is nothing but purchasing at a lower price and selling at a higher price. According to this theory, merger waves are driven by overvalued markets that have valuation dispersion, and managers try to time these markets by using their overvalued shares to acquire lesser valued companies and gain their real asset. Next theory is agency theory. Here, agency costs are the costs that arise because of core problem such as conflict between the management and the shareholders. If there is a problem between the managers and the shareholders, certain cost is incurred by the shareholders in order to manage the managers of the company. Shareholders want management to run the company in the way of maximizing shareholders' wealth, but management might take a decision to maximize the personal wealth and power of the management. Third one is managerial discretion theory. This theory is similar to agency cost theory, and its assumption is that the managers act in their own self-interest, but it states that the managers pursue to grow their firms through merger either because their incomes are tied to growth or because they get psychic income. Psychic income, it is nothing but non-monetary or non-material satisfactions, that is feeling of being powerful or important for managing the large firms. These are the theories of for the which will be applicable for the merger waves. Merger waves are of has been explained in 7 stages. Let us see them. The first waves or merger wave had appeared in 1989 to 1904, occurred after the depression of 1883. That is, the first merger came into known as a Great Merger Movement, and it comprises of horizontal merger that consolidate the manufacturing industries. Here, the horizontal merger means similar companies were merged. Merge means two companies will be combined, and here horizontal merger, two similar companies business will be combined or consolidated, and here manufacturing industries were consolidated. Second waves, that occurred in 1916 to 1929, and this characterized of merger of monopoly versus merger of oligopoly. Here monopoly means similar types of business we say, and oligo of different categories. Oligopoly merger in banking sectors it has occurred. According to White, he explained that merger movement was one of the most important developments in banking. During this period, many regulatory changes were occurred. This wave consolidates several industries and result in an oligopolistic industry structure. Your unrelated industries were merged. Third merger that occurred in 1965 to 1969, and it is often known as conglomerate merger period, and it had occurred during the booming economy, that is increasing economy, and it is not uncommon for the relatively smaller firms to target a larger companies for acquisition. In contrast, a major of the target firms were significantly smaller than the acquiring firms during the two earlier waves. The conglomerate merger found during this period were diversified firms, management science development methodologies that facilitate organizational management or which would be applied to the wide varieties of organizations. The fourth waves, that is in 1981 to 89, continued to downtrend of the third waves, and this is of holistic merger, that is forcible merger, which had become an acceptable form of corporate expansion in the third wave. This period can also be distinguished from earlier waves by the size and prominence of the merger and acquisition target, with the result this period became the wave of merger, mega merger. All the same, not all the industry experienced a rapid growth in the merger during this period. Fifth wave, it has occurred in 1993 to 2000. The 1990s were seen as a great decade of great economic prosperity. After the 1990-91 recession, the financial markets were booming, that is, in an increasing inflation trend, and the globalization process accelerated. In order to keep the economic growth and increasing global demand, USA company targeted companies abroad, and number of cross-border acquisitions increased significantly. In the fifth wave, cross-border acquisition had taken place. And the fifth wave began as a result of technological innovation such as information technology, as well as refocus on companies of their core competency in order to gain competitive advantage. Then the sixth merger had appeared in, or sixth wave of merger had appeared in 2001 to 2008. Sixth wave began after 2001 recession. At this time, the economic growth was resurfacing and there were increase in liquidity into the market due to the stimulus for Federal Reserve, which kept interest rate lower in order to stimulate the economy. The lower interest rate also contributed to the rise of private equity fund as levered acquisition became cheaper and the stock market was booming and leading to the large amount of available capital and an extremely favorable environment for merger and acquisition. Companies say that their cash level have increased and that merger and acquisition remain the number one intended use of those funds. Seventh wave, that is in 2010 till present, is the most current merger waves. Since coming out of the Great Recession in 2009, the US economy has been growing. Interest rates are low but starting to increase once again. The stock price are at an historic high and unemployment rate. The corporate now have more spending firepower. Companies say that their cash level have increased and that merger and acquisition remain the number one intended used. These are the seven waves of merger. Let us see the meaning of industrial shock. In economy, a shock is unexpected or unpredictable event that affect an economy either positively or negatively. Technically, it is an unpredictable changes in extraneous factors, that is, factors unexplained by the economic model which may influence endogenous economic variable. The response of economic variables such as production and employment at the time of the shock and at subsequent time is measured by impulse response function. Then there is other term, that is industrial cluster. Clusters are characterized by geographical area that comprise core-located company representing either a single or multiple industries. Clusters are defined as geographical concentration of competitive firms in related industries that do business with each other and that share needs for common talent, technology, and infrastructure. The cluster industries are supported by and rely directly on linkage industries. These linkage industries provide goods and services required by the driving clusters. The linkage industries include certain business service, distribution service, and some of the input components of the cluster production and process. Your industrial cluster is nothing but as per the geographical area what all companies are located to each other. They will be helping each other either in the production, management, or distribution activities of the company. Industrial clustering is a powerful framework to build organization work together and work with external institutions to meet the needs and promote interest of the organization comprising cluster. Your opportunity to communicate and create and to learn with the other industries will be taken place. There are benefits of industrial clustering. It improves access to specialization, inputs and information and increase outsourcing and vertical integration. This in turn increases productivity and improves innovation. Second point is increases public goods that results from investment. Then the third one improves creation and flow of knowledge and information. Then the fifth one is increases local institutions responsiveness to the cluster specialization needs. Next, provides a framework which enables better understanding of the economy and which leads to invaluable insight into the challenges and most valuable assistance government can provide. The next benefit is engages industrial leaders in a regional strategies that usually include foster communication, networking and improvement amongst the companies within the cluster. Then the next improves incentives and performance management, increases trustful relationship and attention to the socio-cultural elements of local society, allows policymakers and academic researchers to improve economic policy recommendations, then provides strong research base, then lastly increase the knowledge pool of the human capital available to the region to help address local common problems. These are the benefits of industrial cluster. Industrial cluster is nothing but having a link between the industries in a particular location. Thank you everyone.